Welcome back to FM Storey. We're about to begin season 14 of The Save. Last season we ended with our 5th successive league title and our 5th successive Scottish Cup victory. The last couple of seasons we haven't done particularly well in Europe or in the Scottish League Cup, so we need to improve on that, and hopefully we can retain the league and the Scottish Cup. It has been a pretty busy summer in terms of departures, with some more still to go, and hopefully we have a strong enough squad to compete in the 4 competitions. So without further ado, let's see what's happened in the summer so far. So as we said, it's been a pretty big summer of departures. That began with Stevie Spears going to Auxerre for $13.75 million at the end of his loan spell there. Paul Marks, Northern Ireland national goalkeeper, went to Birmingham. Thiago's gone to Altai because he hasn't really settled, hasn't really shown enough to be a first team player, and well down the pecking order in that right wing role. We've sent a couple of players out on loan. Joel D'Alessandro has left for Man City for $55 million, which for someone who wasn't going to be in the starting lineup felt like too much money to be able to turn down. And then the last sort of big deal, Giovanni D'Arcangelo, who we signed a couple of seasons ago as a young prospect, has gone out for $20 million, rising to $25.5 million to Nottingham Forest. In terms of the incomings, there was one deal done pretty early on, which was Petr Duda, Slovakian centre-half, coming in as a prospect for the future. That was a deal that was actually done last summer that was pushed on to this summer for him to come in and join the club. We've sent him out on loan to get some experience. And then we spent a lot of money on a centre-half from PSG. We signed Nicolas Bordes, largely because only 20 years old, looks really good already, potential to really develop, and because all the way through the summer it's looked like Lenny Fayet was potentially leaving the club, so we definitely needed a sort of a replacement who was ready to go in the first team. And then we also picked up Bogdan Rajcevic for rising up to $7.75 million, really for as depth for the number 10 role, young prospect. Hopefully he can get to be a really good player. We are probably also going to need to sign a centre forward, and that is because, and potentially a right back, but although we've got one coming through that can potentially be cover, because Damian Martinez is on his way to Bayern Munich for $45 million, and Casanova is on his way to Man City for rising to $71 million, but it gets to $71 million pretty quickly in terms of the add-ons in the deal. So we are losing our number one goal scorer, but we've managed to hold on to Fernando Pascual. We've got a lot of players who are unhappy at the moment because we've not let them join clubs that they wanted to join. It's going to be a tough start to the season with players that don't want to be here, but we'll have to do our best. The club vision for the future, so they want to reach the Champions League. I mean, we're in the league base, so that's not really a thing. This season, they don't even want to win the league, so they obviously don't think we're going to be able to retain the league title. Last season, we had to win the league title. This season, it's just qualify for the Champions League, but they do want to win the 2 cup competitions. As far as the odds are concerned, again, Rangers are favourites for the title. It's been like that the last few seasons, despite the fact that we've got 9 of the Media Dream 11, and we did have 10, because Alan Kerr was one of those who was in that list, but he has got injured, so that's presumably why he's been removed, because the 2 Rangers players were here all along. They're not new signings. And the only issue we've got going into the opening day of the season is we have a few injuries. So Stretton Gulis is suspended from the end of last season. Alan Kerr has torn his knee ligaments and is out for another month or 2. And Fernando Pascual's out for a few weeks with a calf strain. But hopefully we can get off to a good start. We are still at Hampden Park until the 7th of September. Which is a bit of a pain because we play Rangers on the 3rd of September. I mean, if we could have been back in the ground before that, that would have been ideal. But the first game back in the home ground with the extended capacity will be the Dunfermline game on the 13th of September. But hopefully we've got, with the exception of that Rangers game at the beginning of September, as far as the league's concerned, we've got a relatively decent start to the season in August and September. We've obviously got a decent draw as well in the Scottish League Cup with being drawn against Arbroath. So hopefully we can get cracking at the start of the season, settle into a team and continue the success we've had in recent seasons. So this is the side we've picked for the opening day of the season at home to Livingston. We are obviously missing Goulis, who is injured, so Thibault is going to play left back. There's also the potential that Goulis might leave as well in what's left of the summer transfer window. We have not involved Martinez and Casanova as they're on the way out. So what it means in terms of the front four, we're going to have Thaler off the right, Dusink through the middle, or behind the centre forward, Mansour off the left because Alan Kerr's injured, and Cochise through the middle. Obviously, that may change as the season goes on with Pasquale coming back in and Kerr coming back in, and then also depending on whether we go out and pick up another centre forward to replace Casanova. So hopefully we can get the new season off to a strong start here. So from the kick-off, Dusink to Cochise, Nuevo moving forward, out to Milosavljevic on the right. He gets to the byline, pulls it across. It's cleared as far as Lacam. Nuevo approaching the edge of the box from distance. What a start. Less than 30 seconds on the clock. And Nuevo's scored a screamer to get us off to the best possible start. It's cleared as far as Lacam. Nuevo wins it, turns away from 2, drives towards the box from 25, 30 yards out, hits it. Keeper got nowhere near it, and that's a great start to the season. Right, they've got a throw in our half. They've gone back to the defence. They've passed it into midfield. Cam steps up and wins it. Finds Dusink. Cochise out looking for Mansour. They've cut it out, but Lacam again just mopping up play there in midfield. Rackler to Thibault. Driving down that left-hand side. Crosses towards the back post. Cochise hits the woodwork. They've scrambled it clear. And then the keeper comes and claims it. Right, they've played it wide. Cross in. Surely one of them was offside there. I don't know whether I think the one was offside from the ball out, the huge ball out to the right-hand side, or the centre forward in the middle of the box was offside, but one of them looked offside. He was onside there. He'd just gone too early, and that's why he gets in front of the defence. It was a decent finish in the end from close range, but not to count. Right, so they're attacking down the right-hand side. Thibault intercepts Rackler into Nuevo. Dusink dropping short for it. Mansour cuts inside off the left wing. Goes from distance, but can't get a shot on target. Right, a goal kick for them, which presumably is going to go long because there's no one seems to be in their half. Fayette wins the header. Cochise down to Dusink. Mansour in behind on the left. Hits the post and the stagnating. Should have done better, could have squared it. And there we go, half time. We've pretty much dominated the game, but we should be further ahead. I mean, we've had 12 shots, but only 3 of them on target. After being so on it in the Scottish Cup final last season, with shots on target, testing the keeper. We haven't tested their keeper enough. We are winning 1-0, but we need another to at least feel a little bit comfortable. Right, we made one change at half time. We've taken Fayette off and brought Bordes on just to give him some game time. Cross into the box. Medina comes and claims it. And then rolls it out to Bordes. He goes wide to Milosavljevic with space to move into down that right-hand side. Cuts in field into Dusink, onto Cochise. Mansour in behind. What a finish. What an attack from back to front. in lightning speed. We're now getting a check for, and it's been disallowed. Nothing here looked off. You cannot be telling me that's offside. Right, free kick on the edge of the box. Dusink to take. Lifts it over the wall, hits the woodwork, comes back out, and can't keep the shot down. Right, Thibault with the throw. Dusink loses out, but Mansour wins it. Lacam goes back to Bordes, who spreads it wide to Milosavljevic. He goes past his man, lifts across into the middle of the box. It's headed clear, only as far as Thibault. Now he goes past his man on the left, drags it back, and Mansour hits the post at the near post. Right, we made another couple of changes. Dusink was really struggling, so he's gone off, and Rajkovic has come on for his debut, and we brought Holm on up top and moved Cochise out to the left where Mansour was playing. The longer this goes on at 1-0 without them having had a single on, now they've had a shot, but I was going to say the longer it goes on at 1-0 with them without them having really had an attack, we're going to get a highlight later on for them to equalise. Right, Thibault with a throw down to Cochise. Thibault again. Right, Rackler down the line for Cochise, who cuts inside. The tackle, the ball falls to João Mendes, who drives forward. He goes from distance, and it ripples the top of the net as it goes over. Right, Turnbull with a throw. Lacam to Mendes. Bordes into Mendes in space. Lacam into Holm in the box, and he drags his shot wide of the near post. We've created plenty of openings, we just haven't been accurate enough, and hopefully that's just the first day of the season. I mean, we've had 25 shots, but only 6 of them are on target. I think we've had problems with that in the opening game of quite a few seasons now. Into injury time, and this is where we get a highlight of them that we haven't had since that disallowed goal, where they pop up with an equaliser. Nope, there we go. Opening day of the season, 1-0 victory, pretty professional job. We just wasted a lot of chances, didn't test their goalkeeper enough, but 3 points is 3 points, and we've got the season off to a decent start. We've made it to the end of the summer transfer window, and things have got fairly wild from where we were on the opening day of the season. We've ended up over the summer raking in 483 million in terms of transfer fees in. So since the opening day of the season, Jose Casanova's gone to Man City, which is already at 57 million, up to 71 million. Damian Martinez has gone to Bayern Munich for 45 million. Gundas Kokak has gone to Hertha Berlin for 32 million. We've sent Fraser Sharp and Girardin out on loan. Fraser Sharp because he's probably not going to be anywhere near the first team setup again. Girardin to get some first team football. And then in the last week of the transfer window, things went mental. So we've sold Juan Medina for an initial 94 million, rising to 129 million. We've sold Stretton Goulis for an initial 59 million, up to 62 million. And we've sold Thomas Dusink for an initial 81 million, up to 89 million. And so we've done quite a bit of incomings. Well, we've done a few incomings since the opening day of the season. The first one was a one we already had lined up, even before all of these transfers. Walter Fernandez, young potential goalkeeper, really not to be involved in the first team setup at all. Definitely more a one for the future than anything else. And then we actually struggled to get some players in. The one area we didn't struggle, which was a surprise, was in replacing Jose Casanova. We added Pedro Simoes from Benfica, who just looks an outstanding player, actually looks better than Casanova was. The transfer fee was actually around the same as what Man City paid us. We are paying Simoes a hell of a lot more than Casanova was being paid. He has been injured since we signed him, so he hasn't actually made his debut. He is available to play 45 minutes in the next match, so he'll probably be on the bench for that game. And then on transfer deadline day, we spent a lot of money. With the sale of Dusink, we're looking at pushing Nuevo forward into the attacking midfielder role. And so we picked up Andre Goncalves from Leipzig to play in the defensive midfield alongside Nicola Lecam. Like the signing of Lecam, slightly older than the players we would normally sign, but decent vision, decent leadership, determination, decision making, first touch passing. I think he could be a real star for us in that defensive midfield. And then to replace Medina, we didn't want to go into the season with Villanueva as our number one, because he's had a few hiccups in the last couple of seasons, and I don't think he's ready to be number one for us. So we had a deal done, but it depended on Benfica signing another goalkeeper. So we ended up signing 2 goalkeepers on deadline day. The first one was Diego Villari, French and Italian nationalities, signed from Lorient for $9.5 million. He can be a decent backup, I think, at this level. And then the deal that we were waiting on up until the deadline, Jose Riccioli from Benfica. Really a decent goalkeeper. Certainly the number one is going to be. The only way that actually went through was with Benfica having signed a player on deadline day, and they actually signed Mark Howe, who was Rangers' star goalkeeper last season. So hopefully we've kind of slightly weakened them as well by the 2 deals going through. We have continued on pretty well from where we left off in that opening day game against Livingston. The game against Ross County was very similar. Lots of chances, didn't really take them. Came away with a 1-0 victory away from home. That was the most important thing. We then went away to Arbroath in the Scottish League Cup and hammered them 8-1. Back to the league, a home game against Dundee United, we won 4-1 pretty comfortably. And then in the most recent game, first half we weren't great against Aberdeen. Second half we turned on the style a bit. Rackler and Nuevo picking up goals. What it means so far as the league's concerned is we're one of 2 teams with a 100% record. Us and Hibs are top of the table. Hearts are in 3rd on 9 points, Rangers in 4th on 8 points, and Celtic in 5th on 7 points. We do have a big game coming up next. We are at home against Rangers. As we said at the start of the episode, unfortunately, it's like the week before we move back to our own ground once the capacity's been expanded. We are now missing a few players, so we're struggling a bit down the left because Alan Kerr's still out with his torn knee ligaments, and Hussein Mansour picked up an injury earlier on in the season. We're also struggling down the right now because Andreas Thaler, who had been playing down the right, picked up an injury in the last game. So we have a few issues in the wide areas, but hopefully we can put in a performance, lay a marker down for the season against Rangers, and start to build a bit of a gap over them. So this is the side we've picked for the game against Rangers. We've got 2 players coming in for the debut. So Riccioli goes straight in as number 1, and Goncalves has gone straight into that defensive midfield role. We've opted with the injuries we've got to play Pascual off the right, Duffy in behind, with Nuevo going wide left and Cochise through the middle. Depending on how things go, we might end up moving Pascual through the middle and Cochise back to the right-hand side. We do have Simovic on the bench looking for his debut as well. Right, so we're going with that 4-2-3-1 that we've deployed pretty well since the second half of last season. Not much happening early on in this game. No highlights in the opening 10 minutes here. Right, we've got to throw Milosavljevic to Duffy. Milosavljevic infield to Lecam. Back to Milosavljevic. Looking to go down the outside. He's been cut off. And they're playing their way out the back. Looking to go down the line, but Duffy wins it back. Goes back to Faye. Milosavljevic again down the right side. We're certainly trying to exploit this right. Powers past his man. Lifts across into the box. It's headed clear and then hooked clear, but only as far as Goncalves. Milosavljevic back to Goncalves. Lifts the ball into the box. There's Nuevo to score. Was he onside? If he's onside, it's a great pass from Goncalves and a brilliant finish from Nuevo. And it's been given. So Goncalves gets on the loose ball, goes to Milosavljevic. When the ball comes back to him, he just lifts it first time in over the top of the centre back and the right back. And Nuevo with the first time finish to put us 1-0 up. It was pretty comfortably onside in the end. It's a lovely controlled finish into the far corner. We have made the switch to move Cochise wide right and Pascual through the middle just to try and get them both in the game. They've been quite quiet so far. There we are, half-time, 1-0. It's been quite a quiet half, highlight chance-wise, but we've got the advantage and hopefully we can keep a hold of that in the second half. Right, we sent the same team out to start the second half. We'll probably bring Simwish on around about the hour, just because Pascual coming back from injury, and obviously so is Simwish, so we don't want to give them too much time each. Right, so we made 2 changes. Simwish has come on for his debut, Rajkovic has come on, Nuevo's gone off, Pascual's gone off, Corner's headed away at the near post. Rajkovic picks up on the ball, goes past him, lifts across into the box. Simwish is beaten in the air. And they're bringing it clear, but Thibaut wins it back. Rajkovic again on it straight away. Finds Cochise, who's now playing off the left. He lifts the ball into the box. Duffy goes for it. It's headed up in the air. It's still there. And Thibaut wins it back. And then gives the ball away in a stupid position in midfield. Now they're attacking, but Goncalves gets his foot in. And then Thibaut gets back to win it again. Rackler just lets it run. And we've basically shot ourselves in the foot there. Thibaut with a poor pass in the midfield to give it away. And then he gets back and plays it to Rackler, who just decides to turn the opposite direction. And João Pedro's shot gets deflected past the keeper. And the game's gone really quiet again since they equalised. Right, free kick. Cochise lifts it into the box. Rajkovic takes it down. What a finish. What? Oh. We're going to need to wait for another VAR review for this one. And this one's disallowed. Oh. Cochise just lifts the ball forward. And that's very, very tight. He does well to take it down and finish, but... Right, a corner, Cochise to take it from the right with his left foot. Goes short to Duffy. Fires a low cross in, it comes all the way through to Rackler. And the centre half, the new skipper, comes up with a big, big goal late on here. It's a short corner. It's a strange cross by Duffy because it's so low, it just fizzes right the way through to the back of the box. Rackler takes a touch and then smashes it home on his weak foot. And there we go, full-time 2-1 victory. Apart from that mad minute where we let them back into the game by giving them that equaliser, we've done a pretty decent job there without being outstanding. And we've come away with 3 points. I know it's obviously early days, we've only played 5 games, but we do now have a 7-point advantage over Rangers, who, according to the bookies, are the favourites for the title again. Hopefully that puts us in a strong position to hopefully come away with the 6th successive league title. We've made it to the end of September, and since the game against Rangers, we've continued on pretty much in the same form that we had before that, certainly domestically anyway. We followed the Rangers game up with a 2-0 victory away at St Mirren, with Simwish picking up his first goal for the club. And then our first game back in the Ian St John Arena after the capacity had been increased. We hammered RB Salzburg 5-1 in the Champions League, and then followed that up with a comfortable 4-0 victory at home again against Dunfermline. We then went to Madrid in Champions League, and it was a very even game. They took more chances than we did. They came away with a 2-1 victory, but there was nothing there to say that there's any issues or any problems with the team. And then in the most recent game, We went away to Kilmarnock and won 2-0. What it means as far as the league's concerned is we are 3 points clear of Hibs. We're 8 points clear of Hearts, having played a game more than them. We're 9 points clear of Celtic. We're 12 points clear of Rangers, but we've played a game more than them. So we've had a decent start to the season. Stefan Rackler has been immense at the back. And hopefully, despite all this upheaval that we've had, all the big name players that have left, the replacements that we've brought in, we seem to have hit the ground running. So hopefully this can continue as the season goes on. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.